It's time to find out what new shows are available to stream this weekend. This week, we have a show about an Army veteran turned private investigator, a new CBS original investigating supposed miracles, and last but not least, a show that follows a young teen navigating the politics of high school. So here to walk us through it all is Krutika Mallikarjuna. She's a senior editor at TV Guide. So first up, we have Stumptown, a show that is following an Army veteran who's working as a private investigator. So let's take a look.
My name is Dex Perios, former Marine, currently unemployed, and $11,000 in debt. That's water and power, folks. Now we play for beer and cable. I have 13.
Ugh, another one.
Make that.
14 unpaid parking tickets. Apparently there's a warrant out.
Yeah, fine. So I'm kind of a mess, but it's nothing I can't handle.
Are we going to be okay?
Yeah. I never needed to find my calling, but one might have found me.
Sometimes people have problems police can't help with. They could use someone like you.
A PI. I mean, you can't find your keys half the time.
Might keep me out of trouble.
Looks good. Looks like there might be some romance involved at the end there. So this is an adaptation of a comic series. How closely will it follow the comic?
It does and it doesn't follow a comic, but the good news is this is a comic book adaptation that you're not going to really be able to tell that it's a comic book adaptation. So if you've never read the source material, it's totally
Which
fine.
I haven't.
There's
Okay.
no powers, there's no magical properties, there's no supernatural angle. It really is just sort of a straight up the middle indie comic from Greg Rucka that deals with this woman who's like trying to reintegrate into civilian life after, you know, 5 tours in Afghanistan, and she's taking care of her brother alone, and she's struggling with all these addictions. And it's really nice because Colby Smulders is so talented as the lead of that.
She is.
And she takes a role that could be really corny and like stereotypical, just like a big checklist of messes, and turns it into a 3-dimensional person. And you're like, wow, I definitely want to watch her every week.
Yeah, she seems very real, at least in that preview. So next up, we have a CBS original, Evil. Is a psychological mystery that was created by the team behind The Good Wife and The Good Fight. Let's take a look.
True or false? I like mechanics magazines.
Are you serious? False.
I have diarrhea once or more a month.
False, but thanks for asking.
I like the sound of a woman screaming. Orson.
How many times have you declared a defendant sane?
Forensic psychologist doesn't declare.
How many times have you determined the defendant had the mental capacity to be prosecuted?
34 times.
Is my client possessed by a demon?
Are you referring to demons metaphorically or clinically?
Ooh, that one looks really intense. So is this a science versus religion drama?
It is, but I don't want that to turn anybody off from watching it because, you know, science versus religion, we've seen a lot of versions of that show. It's usually in a police format like, you know, The X-Files, very familiar sort of foundation to work off of. But it's from the Kings, and I can honestly say the show is my favorite broadcast new show of the fall. And it's because the Kings bring that same energy from The Good Fight and The Good Wife into Evil. And they take that like level of insanity that seems very, you know, limited to the worlds that they work in for those other shows. And now they're taking all the wildness of the story and the focused questions about what makes a good person, and they're blowing it up on a huge scale. And it's a really interesting show that's less about whether demons are real or not, and more about how evil spreads from person to person, and what, you know, if there is even a way to stop that. So very current, very fun, definitely recommend watching.
And has a very enticing title, Evil. All right, so lastly, we have the title, The Politician, which maybe some of us are sick of politics, but if you're not, you can always tune into this Netflix original.
I'm running for student body president. That is why I'm proud to introduce my running mate today, Infinity Jackson.
She already has an 80% approval rating.
And a fan account on Instagram.
So evidently there's a videotape with some footage of you using an offensive gay slur. Do you have any idea what I might be referring to?
Do you have any idea what time it is?
Shut up, ma'am. I'm not gonna take your bullshit tonight, okay? What did you say on the tape?
She said butt munch. She called an obviously gay reporter butt munch.
Damn it! This is all over now!
I want that trophy.
See, gentlemen, I'm gonna be president of the United States. I'm merely stating a fact. I will be president someday. I'm warning you. Do not screw with my dream.
Your ambition frightens me.
I want that trophy.
All right, so this already looks like it's won the race, if you will, because it's been picked up for a second season already. First season hasn't even aired. And each season is going to follow a different political race. Am I correct?
Yes. This is Ryan Murphy's first collaboration with Netflix. You know, they signed him with that huge exclusive production deal. And this is the first thing he's producing with them. And I would say, like any first season of a Ryan Murphy show, it slaps. It's really, really good. It's heartwarming, it's sharp, it's funny, and I think it is really going to connect with the millennial audience. You know, we sort of came into political power in an era where everything felt optimistic, and now maybe we are not so much anymore. So it's about how you break through that sort of monotony and numbness to, you know, put some good out into the world. And I just really love this cast. I think this is a really fresh take from Ryan Murphy. We'll see how the later seasons are, you know, based on American Horror Story. You can never really tell.
Yeah.
But season 1, great, and would definitely recommend
And
watching.
it looks like it has a rock star cast.
Oh yeah, cast is unbelievable for this. They're very fun. They're like super young and a lot of fresh faces in this one. I think probably the most recognizable person is Zoe Dutch, who you'll know from the Netflix rom-com Set It Up and a bunch of other shows. And then Ben Platt, who is a Broadway star.
Love Ben Platt. All right, Krutika Mallikarjuna, thank you so much for these previews.
Thank you for having me.